back at it to the secrets of drawing the female nose. I'm hanging out with the beautiful Casey McGrath, and there's all kinds of different noses. There's all different shapes and sizes, and we're going to talk about some general things though that are going to help you draw better noses. So first thing we need to do, we need to figure out the placement of the nose. It's actually very easy. So over here we've got our basic head constructed. It's very easy to figure out if you bring down just the tear duct over here. I'm going to draw dotted lines just because. If you bring those down, just get rid of some of this. So that will tell you what the width of the nose is. Now, how far down does this go? Well, that's where things get a little bit tricky because it's a little bit different with everybody. Some people have shorter noses, some people have longer noses. Is one better than another? No, it's actually, again, these are some of the things that make us all unique and beautiful. So it's really up to you. But I can tell you this, if you want to draw a shorter nose, shorter noses usually are anywhere to about an eye length. So if you take the length of the eye and go right about here, that will tell you the length of the nose there if it's a shorter nose. If it's a longer nose, it's halfway from the middle of the head to the bottom of the chin. So that'll be a little bit closer to something like this. It's really up to you how you want to draw your nose. And in fact, doing this, if you're creating characters, if you're making a comic book or something like that, it actually helps make all of your faces look different if you plan these things out. One of the things I see with a lot of artists that are trying to break into comic books, they fall into this trap where they say, man, every face that I draw looks the same, and the only way you know characters are different is if their hair is different or they're wearing different clothes. So by changing the length of their nose, you can make people look different that way. So just for giggles on this one, I'm going to draw the nose a little bit shorter. So we're going to go with this one eye length right here. Now, how to draw the nose, what not to do. What I was always told when I was growing up, that all you have to do to draw the nose is an upside down 3-leaf clover like this. That is not the way you want to draw a nose. Here's the crazy thing, that's actually kind of close to how our nose is shaped, but it's not what we see. And a lot of times when you're drawing, almost always when you're drawing, you don't want to draw what you know, you want to draw what you see. So here's what we're going to do. And before I draw this, I'm going to draw it from the side view. I'm going to draw kind of what the nose looks like so you can understand why we're drawing it this way. If you look at the nose from the side, let's say we've got the nose kind of comes in like that, and then let's say here is the upper lip, the lower lip, and then let's say here is the chin. That's a crazy lower lip. Something like that. Let's say here is the nostril here. And then let's say here is lower lip like so. Ignore that this, here, I'll put this in a box so it doesn't look like...
No, with the eye the way it is, it looks like some fancy abstract art.
It's like Picasso.
And now the box, yeah, there you go. Totally, now you have...
Totally looks like Picasso. It's really weird. So let's say light is coming down at an angle like this. What happens, you've got the ball of the nose right here, and this rolls into shadow like so. And then you've got the nostril here also rolling into shadow. And because the light is coming down like this, it's actually casting a shadow. Because the nose is protruding here, everything under this point here is in shadow. So it's going to cast a shadow, something like that. And then all of this now up close, this probably looks like it's in jail or it's in a fence or something like that, but hopefully you can tell that that nose is in shadow. So that's how we are going to draw it, but we are going to draw it from the front. So here's what it looks like from the front. Without drawing, you actually don't want to draw all these lines on the side like you have here, because as soon as you do that, it looks like someone took a Sharpie and put lines on the side of the face. So what you want to do, you've got the nostril here. Something like so. Here is the basic shape of the nose, but of course we need to have some lighting set up with this. So I'm going to draw the same thing I have here, but this is what it looks like from the front. So we've got the ball of the nose that's kind of rolling into shadow here. We've got the nostrils rolling into shadow here, and then it's casting a shadow like so. Here's the cast shadow under the nose. Now, depending on the shape of the nose, sometimes you see a little bit more of the nostrils. Like so. Now, doesn't it almost look like, hopefully doesn't that look like the nose is kind of, maybe that's a little high there and there.
Looks like a cool mask.
Oh, it does look like a cool mask. Darn it, why'd you have to say that? Now people can't unsee it, James. But it does look like a cool mask. So that is a sweet mask, actually. But hopefully this looks like a nose that's kind of protruding from the dry erase marker board. That's what we want to put in our nose space right here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Something like so. So that is a little bit more of a nose shape that you're going to draw. So there's different styles and there's different nose shapes, but I want to share something with you that really helped me kind of understand how to draw better noses. At the time I learned this, I didn't understand how it worked or why it worked, which I understand it now, but I thought it was pretty crazy. So when I was probably 18, I was bound and determined I wanted to be a comic book artist. I wanted to also make video games. There's all kinds of stuff that I wanted to do. But I wanted to get better at drawing, and I was getting better at drawing people's faces, but I was awful at drawing the nose. And all my noses I was drawing like this. So I'll never forget the day I put my foot down and I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to grab the latest issue of Spider-Man that came out that day. I'm going to go through the comic book. I'm going to draw every single person's nose, and I'm just going to try to get better. I want to see what are people doing to draw their noses. So I remember I was kind of excited to do this. This was going to be the day. It's the first day of the rest of your life, and you are going to draw better noses. So I would sketch in my sketchbook laying down in bed, and I grabbed my latest issue of Spider-Man, and I looked at the cover, and Spider-Man was on the cover. He had a mask on, so there was no nose on the cover. But I flipped open to the first page, and it's what's called a splash page, where it's just this giant image. And there was Mary Jane, and she looked so beautiful. She looked fantastic. And I was like, oh, Mary Jane. I'm like, okay, forget about that. Focus on the nose. So I zeroed in on the nose, and I couldn't believe what I saw. What I saw was this. It was this little triangle like this. And that's what the nose was. And I kind of zeroed back out, and I'm like, wait, that doesn't make sense. And I was like, Mary Jane, she looks awesome. That looks so cool. And then I zeroed back in on the nose, and it was this triangle. I was like, that doesn't even make sense. How does this look good, but it's just a triangle? Like, that doesn't even make sense. Here's what I know now that I didn't know back then. Do you see where this triangle, this is just a stylized version of this. So from far away, this probably, to James far away, this looks like a really sweet mask. But from far away, this almost looks like a dark triangle. And that's why this actually works depending on what style you're drawing. This never works over here. So you want to stay away from that. All right, that is the secret to drawing the nose. One last thing though, we want to go back over here to Rongo and we want to add in, now I could draw just like this giant nose. Of course, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try to be a little bit fair here, but I'm going to go ahead and draw in the nose like so. Obviously, that's what not to do. All right, stick around with us. If you guys like this video, if this helped you draw noses, you should give me a like. Leave me comments on what you want to see in future videos. Also, don't forget, what else? I can't even remember what the other things are that I'm supposed to tell you. But do all that other fun stuff with sharing and caring and notification bell. Thank you. And like, what else? Subscribe.
Busch at Instagram.
Oh, that's right. Very good. Yeah, follow me on Instagram. All right, come back to the next video where we are going to talk about lips.